Well, I'm wafting in on a breeze of positivity today, y'all. Today, heck, every day. Welcome, and then one more hearty. Welcome to Bangs and Botox, Women Who Wear Aging Well. Brought to you by, well, me, Diane Dean-Epps, author of Bangs and Botox, the humor book, comedian, teacher, baby boomer, writer, Mimi and Mama to the second power, and a woman who takes an improv approach to life, which is yes and, which makes it so I meet change right where it lives, in the moment. Now, that's not to say I don't love me some planning. My 10 highlighters, 15 clickable Sharpies in all colors, several sets of multi-hued and messaged sticky notes, shabby chic box filled with old school folders, and 2 calendars. Tell that little story. This show is for women who wear aging well, women who've seen some things, heard some things, said some things, and done some things. And it's all contributed to how well you're wearing aging. It all looks so good on you, may I say. And to my XY chromosome friends, the welcome mat is always out for you too. Bangs and Botox is for women and anyone who loves women, or one woman in particular. It's pretty inclusive that way. The style of this podcast reflects my humor writing style, which I call sit down, stand up. I bet you're wondering what that means. The vibe of the show is definitely the same as when you're having a good time in a comedy club where the entertainer's whole goal is to make you laugh as they execute what we call in the comedy biz a tight five, representing 5 minutes of endless yucks. Think of sit down stand up as more of a coffee clatch format. I always enjoy the opportunity to sit in a comfy chair, preferably with lumbar support and a cup holder. So instead of me being way over there up on the stage, yodeling into a microphone, we're sitting at a table across from each other, up close and personal, eyeball to eyeball. And we're chatting easily about a variety pack of subjects, laughing, sharing, connecting, and generally enjoying ourselves. Listen, most episodes won't be slap your knees, bend over so you can catch your breath funny. But we will snicker, chuckle, giggle, probably snort laugh. Let me provide the latter for you. Doesn't that sound pretty? I'm themey. So every episode will have a theme with a hank of stories, more than you could possibly ask for. Insert some motivational moments, hot tips about something I'm watching, reading, eating, buying, and doing, with a whole lot of asides. And then we'll finish up with an essential question for you to ponder. We'll always orbit around the theme. It's a slice of wonderful to be here with you today. One of the fabulous things about a podcast is it doesn't matter what I'm wearing or how I look. And that's a good thing because today, dear listeners, it's obvious I've made absolutely zero effort in the appearance department. You know that cute little term, messy bun for your hair? Yeah, so delete bun, and what you got left is my style today with both the hair and the clothing. Messy. In my last episode, Tell Me a Story with Your Lips, I covered quite the gamut of topics. No surprise there. At its core was me talking about storytelling and specifically humor as a coping mechanism. It's a combo pack for me that goes directly to aging well. My version of aging well means I'm trying not to get stuck in life. I don't want to sit down in life. I'm out there living my life off the mat, so it gets messy. You know, kind of like how I look today. There's a theme, but that's not really it for this episode, but maybe a sub theme. There are complications, conflicts, losses, misconnections, and just challenges, big challenges. Today's episode represents a theme I ponder quite a bit, the female body. And I've titled it, What is a Good Body Anyway? It revolves around the role of women's bodies in society and how that perception of the female body is influenced by unrealistic narratives, ideals, and cultural expectations. Whoa. That's some pretty heady stuff right there, especially for a podcast that says it's humorous, right? Maybe, can I get a double snap on that though? Snap. So, probably not a lot of yucks all up in there on this topic, just some light humor. It'll be in there. The whole notion that there's even an ideal female body, the best body, the good body, and how we're perceived by virtue of the body we present to the world at large, it's nuts. Having said that, to live in this world as a female is to be keenly aware of societal expectations around our bodies. And with those expectations come the ghastly messages we receive about what it is to be beautiful. May I say right now, listeners, I know for a fact each and every one of you are totally beautiful. But I've got a little different perspective that grants me total personal power over that perception. Ooh, that's a lot of P's when you're doing an audio show and you don't want to be poppy. Well, I'm going to share about this in just a second. Before we launch off the high dive into today's episode, I'm happy to report my podcast now is being distributed by a number of providers, all listed on my website, which is DianeDean-Epps If you want to see where the choices are, you're going to surf on over to the Bangs and Botox podcast tab. These channels are all absolutely free. This is not a subscription only podcast. It's for the masses, all of us. You won't want to miss any episodes because my story driven style means I tend to refer to all that preceded this current one. Drop me a line in the comment section anytime. Okay, let's do this. I have a good body. Heck, I have a great body. The best body. Wait, what, Diane? That's some ego you've got firmly in place, woman. Nah, let me tell you why I say this. Because after a multitude of experiences, I define a good body by virtue of what it does rather than how it looks, its strength, its resilience. This viewpoint has come with aging for sure. Now, sidebar here. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind investing my time in physical fitness and then enjoying any level of non-flashy hotness perception I can get with whatever demographic is still noticing me. That's fine. But you absolutely cannot get to the ripe, luscious, and juicy age of 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and beyond and not experience a health challenge, scare, or reality check. Talk about the proverbial wake-up call that brings us right back around to what's important in life. For me, just being here and then preserving what I have, my strength, my health, my wits, so I can have a life filled with freedom, grace, and dignity. It's my highest aim. As a baby boomer female who has been a dancer, and ye gads, I briefly modeled. I'm no stranger to the if you would just lose 10 pounds non-helpful request or comment I've received at various times during my career and performance interludes. Because nothing says a good body so much as one that looks as though it's an actual hanger and not a female form, right? No. Dear listeners, I have hips. Post-puberty, I've always had hips. And as the song goes, oh, my hips have never lied. They are here, they're loud, and they aren't going anywhere. And why would I want them to? When I was a Twinkie of about 18 years of age, I was doing something we used to call tea room modeling back in the late 70s. A group of us would model clothing from a variety of stores at local restaurants. and the patrons could purchase the garments right along with their grilled halibut. Well, I was having fun until I was told by my agent I wouldn't be able to hit the runway for the big spring show unless, are you ahead of me? I lost 10 pounds. And, when I was younger, I could be sassy, right? Some things don't change when the situation merited it. And let me tell you, the situation merited it. I told the agent, thanks, but no thanks. And I flounced on out of her office in my stylish sweater skirt separate and 4-inch platform shoes that I could walk in as though I was a runway model. The thing of it is, when I look at those early pictures, I'm floored by how tiny I was. And to think there were those who wanted to make me tinier, literally and figuratively. So, as a dancer, when I hit the main stage in college, I encountered the same damn thing. We even had scales in the dressing room where the director would weigh us weekly, ensuring we maintained her goal weight for us. Fortunately, sanity prevailed, and we found an ally in the form of the co director, aptly named Sunny. And she championed us every literal and figurative step along the way. Eventually, the scales disappeared. If only the metaphorical scales on the dance director's eyes would have done the same. My idea of a good body had always been one that was healthy, flexible, strong, and could withstand a full-scale carbohydrate assault over the period of weeks. I didn't really buy into the whole let me tell you how you should look way of looking at my physical self. But I'm not going to lie, it cost me some opportunities. I wouldn't really comprehend how incredibly important it is to view my body as the very best body until I encountered a number of scary instances in my life when my physical intention went one direction while my actual physical body went another. We diverged in a wood, so to speak, and it became clear I would be experiencing a road I was forced to take. Yes, I'm an English teacher, so any chance I can allude to literature, I'm all in. So experiences like this transcend body positivity, and they take me into a completely different realm, the realm of viewing my physique through the being healthy lens. As seems to be my wont, I've got a poignant on the serious kind of side story for you today called The Good Body. And then I've got a funny one for you that involves a body part, and that one's called Held Prisoner by My Sports Bra. It's all about our bodies and how they perform, rebound, respond, and our role in bringing out the absolute best it has to offer. In my first episode of the show, I said I wanted to be authentic with this podcast. And really, why even do this if that isn't a starting point? I don't want to go all TikTok influencer on you, sharing way more than any of us want to know about anyone. And that includes people we're in relationships with. So I'll eschew any convos with the most minuscule of intimate details. But I will tell you this, because this is my now. Last month, I got the stuffing knocked out of me when I received a scary diagnosis with a good prognosis, for which I'm profoundly grateful. I can't help but reflect again upon this good body of mine and how I need to never, ever, ever, one more, ever take it for granted. So I need to be good to my good body. That means, first of all, I've had to really slow my roll, which means I'm doing everything with more intention. I'm getting those teeth good and brushed up, missing none of those usual give short shrift to tooth and gum areas. I've never savored a cup of coffee so much or for so long. And colors. Oh my, the colors. The sky, so blue with those gorgeous cotton puff clouds, hummingbirds with equally gorgeous iridescent red necks, and my husband's eyes, so blue, so clear, so loving. As I heal and devote the bulk of my time to self-care, I don't have one of my top 5 coping mechanisms for stress available to me. Aerobic activity. Right now, a brisk walk is aspirational. I'll get there. But dancing around, jumping around, and punching it all around, because I like to do boxing, not for a while, Diane. So that's a natural introduction to introspection and doing things differently. I'm going to be a little cagey about the specifics of my own current medical challenge so I can stay in my relative comfort zone just for now. It's early days, but I'm definitely feeling like these are happy days with a very good result as part of my present tense. Right now, all is well. Isn't that exactly what life is, though, anyway? So, this piece that I'm going to tell you about, I wrote it back in 2004, 2005 or so. That's when I was forced to meet a health crisis head on. It was huge. It was completely different than my current health sitch, completely. But I'm going to tell you about it because it still resonates for me. And it's still important that I view my body as my partner in healing. And what I'm going to tell you about is the first time that I really understood what that was going to look like. If you're going through something right now, could be physical, could be mental. I hope my story helps in even the smallest of ways. Pop culture and the media provide a great tandem impetus to check out your belief systems, if nothing else. How do you feel about the whole being famous for being famous style of coverage? And what exactly are we promoting with respect to young women and their own belief systems about themselves? This all got me thinking, and let's face it, everything gets me thinking about myself, though, and what I really think is a good body. A good body. As a female in American society, I'm only too aware of the term and the discrepancy between the concept and its reality. When I was a teenager, a good body was much more important than a good mind. Remember, I'm a baby boomer, so, it was kind of different. It was the highest compliment that could be paid, in fact, that you were looking good. While guys strove for a six-pack abdominal region and tight rear end, girls were supposed to be small in stature, though shapely and symmetrical in all measurements. You know, natural looking. Oh, but it wasn't until I was faced with an invisible illness, invisible because you can't see the outward physical signs, that I would learn what a good body really was. This illness was Lyme disease, and it began with a tick bite, as it always does. And in my case, I had two tick bites. At the time, I tried to find humor being my coping mechanism, and I said, two tick bites because I'm an overachiever. I didn't have any evidence of a bullseye rash whatsoever. I even said if it because I didn't see, it was just these tiny little dots. Well, at least I don't see legs. I did not know in my ignorance that it's those small neophyte ticks that are really the beastliest of them all. The legs would not be in evidence so much. It would be another 3 months before I would collapse entirely, landing in the emergency room and experiencing my health insurance and all of its many options. Again, this is back in the early 2000s. It's not my current health situation. As with any disease in its beginning diagnosis phase, it was a time to question everything. I was questioning the symptoms, the treatment, the future. Lyme patients were often told in the early 2000s that they were simply stressed out, and it's nothing a Xanax wouldn't cure. Also, what I was told, I live in Northern California, was we don't even have Lyme disease on the West Coast. Well, unfortunately, the infected ticks never received that memo. Just telling me I couldn't be sick didn't make it so. To be so ill and to have to navigate judgy attitudes, which unfortunately included some work colleagues who thought I looked, quote unquote, just fine. It was brutal. Being ill often doesn't correlate with how you present physically. Whereas I'd previously challenged my body to accomplish fun physical feats, relying upon its innate ability to perform at a maximum peak, I was forced to watch this same body fail as it seemed incapable of taking directions or even small suggestions. I traipsed from doctor to doctor, watching my hands shake with intention tremors, hanging onto surfaces in order to just accomplish the simplest of tasks like walking. And I was sleeping the days away and struggling to grasp a cohesive thought. I couldn't believe my body was letting me down. How could it not fight this? It had fought everything else I had thrown at it. And let me tell you, there had already been some doozies. It was only after exhausting every medical avenue that I switched my focus to treating this disease holistically. I read so many anecdotal stories about how people healed. And dear listeners, that's part of the reason I'm finally telling my story. As I read the stories of countless people who were generous enough to share their accounts, I began to gain an understanding of what dis-ease is. I needed to rely upon my body, my good body, to help me heal. Through the trauma of my illness, I gained an understanding like no other. It would be months before I was able to drag myself up onto a treadmill, death gripping the apparatus so tightly my knuckles turned white as I chanted my mantra. This is good for my body. This is good for my body. This is good for my body. Appearing to all the world as though I were riding a bucking bronco. But I persevered. I would not give up because it was just me and this body. We were in this together. I discovered what a good body I have, although it sure doesn't look like what you would think it would look like with that descriptor. It'll never grace one page of a fashion magazine. This good body is bumpy, and these days it's age spot decorated, and its waist to hip ratio is way off, but it's a good body like no other. My body has rallied through a disease that took me to the depths of despondency, stopping off at the contemplation of my own mortality. And yet there was that body in 2003, every morning, every day, willing to give it another go, willing to submit to aggressive treatments, willing to heal in the face of an illness that often doesn't grant that opportunity. My body possesses a seemingly limitless ability to sustain me, even when I do not know how to give clear cues. What is a good body, really? We don't need the media to tell us. We don't need a lover to tell us. We don't need a plastic surgeon to tell us. Our body will tell us. Just take a look in a full-length mirror. That's exactly what a good body looks like. And now, dear listeners, today, as of today when I'm recording, August 6th, 2025, I want you to know I did heal. And I've been in remission from Lyme disease for over 20 years. And that is in large part due, again, to folks who told their stories about how they healed. Ever grateful. That's me. So it reminds me how kind we all need to be to ourselves. Give ourselves grace. Maybe have that fun snack you haven't had in years. Maybe don't have a vegetable every day. I don't know, 80 days. From this more serious essay, we're going to finish up with more of a, I don't know, maybe it's going to be a laugh riot to you. It makes me laugh still when I tell this story of when my body was confronted with a completely different kind of challenge that came about due to a garment. That's when I was dun 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 held prisoner by my sports bra. I'm going to address that which no one wants to address, the national design treasure that is the high impact, fully supportive, seamless sports bra. I'm an active senior, so that includes frequent workouts, which you've read about, well, in my books if you've read them, and you'll hear about me talking about that when I'm not recuperating from feeling icky. That means on any given day, I can be boxing, dancing, Pilatesing, or downward dogging. Ergo, sports bras aren't optional. And all the working out leads to quite a bit of sweating. Good. That's how I know I've got my heart rate up. Shucking my sweaty clothing. Well, that is something I'm going to talk about in a second because it's never been a problem until it was. Usually, when I foresee an issue with what I call relationship clothing, I make sure my significant other is home to assist me. Now, relationship clothing has been well established in my household for many years. These are garments that include, but are not limited to, dresses with zippers in the back, shirts with buttons in the back, and any apparel with a bow in the back. You get the picture. Things I cannot reach. Until the event I'm about to tell you about in the most excruciating detail, sports bras were not classified as relationship attire. So, I remember. It was an ordinary day, sunny with a slight breeze. I'd enjoyed a vigorous exercise session with the requisite sweat I've grown to know and love. And, I was feeling pretty dang good, drafting off my endorphin high as I shuffled into the bedroom to change into one of my scruffy home outfits. When I tried to utilize my usual swooping motion to fling off my sports bra, it all went wrong. Instead of off, it went to stuck way up high. Evidently, my sweat triggered a reaction not unlike one of those washcloths that expand when you add water, and it rendered my shoulders twice as wide. Uh-oh. This item had now transitioned into classification as relationship apparel, and I was home alone. Well, I wasn't completely alone. The fur babies were all in residence, offering unconditional love, if not opposable thumbs. The fact of the matter was, I was hardcore stuck in a position where I looked like, one of those arms flapping in the air, weird, true cut, blow up creatures you see in front of fine car lots everywhere. I then launched into a comedy act no one will ever see in person, but I'm going to describe it to you. With my arms high over my head, squished into a capital V position, I tried waving them around to create some room. Well, the unfortunate result was wedging my armpits into the pokey side pieces. How ironic. They're there for support, but there was none offered in this particular situation. That's when I realized I needed to take drastic measures. It was imperative I cut myself out of this godforsaken garment before I lost consciousness. So I scuttle over in the general direction of my vanity table, where I keep all manner of makeup and grooming items. Well, that does include scissors. The journey felt as long as the Appalachian Trail as I shuffle stepped around throw rugs, I wove around furniture, and then I played dodge cat, dog, cat with multiple critters. Against all odds, I made it to my destination without going rear end over tea kettle. And I had mere steps to go when I got a cramp in my left elbow. Now, more than ever, time was of the essence. I had mere seconds before that annoying cramp became the kind that freezes your limb like it's been cast in concrete. I bunny hopped the last few steps, crash landing onto the vanity. Little did I know the trickiest bit was ahead of me. You see, I was dealing with the twin challenges that were partial vision and limited hand mobility. That meant I had to bend over from the waist and use a sweeping motion to bring the scissors my way, much like a sea anemone uses its tentacles to lure in food. Well, if success were to be measured by how many items I knocked off the vanity, then I was extremely successful. Over the next 15 hours, all right, more like 15 minutes or so, I located my nail scissors and sawed the foundational beast off my body. While it all worked out, eventually, I'm struck by the fact that once again, when my dignity came calling, no one answered. I'll tell you what else a good body is. It's one that's double jointed. Before I leave this good body topic, I'm inviting you to take part in this solo exercise. And yes, I've done it and I do it periodically. Here we go. Strip down to your skivvies. What? What kind of show is this? Place yourself in front of a full length mirror. You don't have to do it right this second. Do it, when maybe you're not listening to me, or maybe you are. I won't know. Okay, so you're in front of the full length mirror. You've got this. You've got this. And say loudly, I have a good body. That body love and self love will boomerang right back to you immediately. When you look at yourself, remember that's one hell of a body that's gotten you this far. And that's what wearing aging well looks like. And now for the somethings. Hey, did you know that 80% of podcast listeners trust the advice of their favorite host? Dare I hope that maybe I'm one of your favorite hosts? Oh, fingers crossed. Here we go. The somethings, as I mentioned in my last show, in this segment, I'll offer up something I'm watching, something I'm reading, something I'm eating, something I'm buying, something I'm wearing, and something I'm doing. In some cases, it'll be multiple somethings. So feel free to drop some of your somethings into the comment box. Okay, so something I'm watching on the streaming front, I thoroughly enjoyed Amazon's Good Cop, Bad Cop, shot in Australia. It stars Leighton Meester. Apologies to her if I'm just massacring that. She was in Gossip Girl, which I did not see. She's phenomenal. And Luke Cook, who has done a guest turn on Modern Family. And they play these two siblings who work for their police chief dad. It is hysterical. Hoot and a half. Great writing, funny characters, loads of quirk. Fingers crossed there'll be a season 2. I binge watched that puppy. We're late to the party, but we are watching Resident Alien. Oh man, the writing and it's incredible. I highly, highly recommend that one. And it's on Peacock, I think it is. This, can I get sponsorships? I really need to check into this, huh? How many listeners do you have to have, do you think? More than 3? More than you, my listener right now who's listening? All right, I persevere. And the last one that I'm going to talk about, Leanne on Netflix. I'm in the process of binge watching this powerhouse show. Her stand up is wonderful. She's a likable person with this hilarious style, and there she is on a sitcom, like she would say, yummy. Something I'm reading, I read Yoga Pants Nation by Lori Gelman. Pretty funny. It's a woman who loves wearing yoga pants. She's a mom who got roped into fundraising for some fifth graders because her son is in fifth grade. And she's also a newbie spin instructor, which I got a kick out of because I teach dance. The next one, The Library of Lost Dollhouses by Elise Hooper. It is a fiction book. I'm not usually a historical fiction person, but man, she did a great job working in a lot of history. Something I'm eating. Well, I'm keeping up with the modest veggie output of my homegrown garden. Um, because the birds have been visiting, this week's count on the bird side of the balance sheet, they have consumed gigantically gorgeous flowers that were supposed to be zucchini. They're at 10. The fully finished zucchini that I got to eat, 4. Nevertheless, I'm enjoying, the things that they do leave alone sometimes because now later on I'll talk about I got a little bird netting. And I want to update you on my quest to eat about every Ginger Snap cookie there is. I'm on track. Approximately 6 brands with loads of repeats. I've now expanded my cookie quest into acquiring those Days of Yore iced oatmeal cookies. Do you remember those? They still make them, but you have to go to a cheap store to find them. So it makes me feel like I'm 13 years old again. And I'm sitting down after school with a stack of cookies and a glass of milk. Oh, dear God. Remember when full dairy milk was a thing? Yeah, well, that it was when I was 13, and I would sit there and watch soap operas, Days of Yore soap operas with Days of Yore cookies. At the time, they were current cookies, and I used to watch All My Children or Ryan's Hope. Anybody remember those? Something I'm buying, those UPF 50 plus UV raspberry shirts they have on Amazon Quick Dry. They're good for when you're out fishing, swimming, running, hiking. And as it turns out, because this is what I'm doing right now a lot, sitting. I tried something called a tubing mascara. Meh, I don't know. High on my list of inexpensive, does the job well favorite that I have for mascara is Essence's Lash Princess False Lash Effect Volumizing and Lengthening Mascara. Dear God, their titles are as long as mine. It's expensive and in two shakes. I said expensive, but I meant inexpensive. And in two shakes of a lamb's tail, I've got eyelashes that, coincidentally, are as thick as a lamb's tail. I mentioned the bird netting. I'm buying bird netting because that relates to what I'm eating, so I can eat more of what I want to eat, and so that the birds can swoop in and then be ineffective in their quest. Something I'm doing. I'm relaxing. I'm meditating. A lot of this is due to wayward birds attacking my garden. I need to be calm. So why, oh, why though, did I think it was a good idea to place the bird feeder right next to my garden? I know you all knew that was a bad idea, but unfortunately, you weren't right there with me. So in addition to eating all manner of veg, then these wretched birds ravaged my peach and apple trees. I didn't even get one peach or apple, and the trees have been left bare, and they're contemplating their emptiness. So in my current kick it down a notch mode due to healing, I'm reading loads, slowing everything way down. That's it for the somethings this time around. Before I yodel out, that's a wrap. Let's get to our closing essential question. I'm always going to leave you with an essential question. Yeah, it's my fancy talk for a question to ponder. How are you treating that physical vessel of yours, your body? Are you working too hard, playing too hard, haven't thought about it? Maybe this is an excellent time to reflect upon how your relationship is going with your body. It's amazing. And feel free to drop me a line in the comments. Stay strong and healthy. And you know what? Now go have a cookie I mean, it doesn't have to be a ginger snap or an iced oatmeal cookie, or maybe you're a savory snack person. Okay, so go have something snalty. You deserve it. I don't know. Watch out for the dairy though. I mean, have dairy, but it seems like, I don't know. I don't think they make cows like they used to. Okay, my fabulous listeners, that's a wrap for this week. In my next episode of Bangs and Botox, I'm likely to talk about what relationships look like for us active seniors, or I don't know, maybe some other topic will surface that speaks to me and in turn to you. So please do come back for more because you just don't know what's next. And I think that might be good. Are you intrigued? Now that is good. And this episode resonated with you, it made you laugh or made you ponder something, made you hungry, or made you want to tell someone about it, please do tell others about this, by the way. Well, let me know, would you? While this thing is on, as we say, with in the broadcasting community here, it's good to get a confirmation that you're out there. You can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I have that website I mentioned at the top of the show, Diane Dean-Epps writing.com. And I'm on YouTube, which is fun and easy. So until our next Bangs and Botox, Women Who Wear Aging Well Coffee Clutch podcast, friends.